I just was not singing it properly. It's really hard to describe, but it was a very strange thing. So when I lost that completely, I struggled really hard because I was like, I don't have anything.
Oh, so the confidence was just...
The confidence was just, you know. And then, like, in the course of all of that, like, so I lost... I had to step back from my career because I felt like I couldn't deliver the performances. And I got really bad anxiety from it. So I was having panic attacks before shows, and I just felt bad that people were coming to the shows, and I was terrified to perform for them. And so I stopped performing. And then, like, I had to figure out other things to do.
Welcome to Curious Goldfish, a podcast community where music and curiosity come together through interesting conversations with the music makers of our world. I'm your host, Jason English. Welcome to Curious Goldfish, a podcast all the major podcasts, music and curiosity come together through interesting conversations all of our with the music makers on our website. I'm your host, JasonEnglish.com. You can find Curious Goldfish and all the major podcast and social media platforms. And of course, we have all of our content on our website, CuriousGoldfish.com. Characterized by her fierce individuality and her haunting jazz-tinted voice, Lindi Ortega is an artist who has consistently defied norms in the music industry. With her blend of roots, country, and rock, Ortega has managed to carve out a niche that's uniquely her own. After facing significant challenges in her career, including issues with her vocal cords and stage anxiety, she has taken a break. But her fans will be excited to hear that she's back and more motivated than ever. Her journey in Americana and country music has been both tumultuous and triumphant. From being bullied in school to finding her calling in music, Lindi's story is one of resilience. When she lost her vocal abilities due to faulty in-ear monitors, Ortega faced one of her darkest periods, filled with anxiety and self-doubt. Yet she managed to climb out of those depths, teaching herself how to sing again and finding renewed purpose in a craft she thought she'd lost forever. A hiatus from music found her picking up a paintbrush and painting houses, an unexpected turn that provided its own form of therapy and a moment of introspection. But the lure of music was always there, waiting for her return. This phase in her life gave birth to new music, leading her to create an album that's described as both deeply personal and innovative, straying from her country roots into more experimental territory. Her latest work is called From the Ether, and it marks yet another chapter in her storied career, one that explores themes of ghosts, both real and metaphorical. As she navigates her personal losses and professional challenges, Lindi emerges stronger than ever, with a renewed sense of self, ready to share her voice with the world once more. I caught up with Lindi during Americana Fest 2024, where she launched the new album with her new recording label. We talk about all these things and more, and even got some insight into her perspective on dating post-divorce. We also hear a song about her late father, Paco, called The Spiritual Advisor. From Creston, British Columbia, here's Lindi Ortega. Let's dive in. Lindi Ortega, it's a pleasure. So nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
So we're at Americana Fest in Nashville. I guess what was the best part about your week here?
Oh, man. There's so many great, wonderful things. I think the best part of my week was that, so I have a record coming out, and it's being launched on a brand new label called Truly Handmade Records, which is part of the Guy Clark estate. I got to go to the launch party for it, and I'll be the first release on the label, and just the amazing people that I met there. And, you know, I don't know, this whole music thing is wild for me, this whole, because I haven't been doing it for the past 4.5, almost 5 years. So I never expected to have any sort of record deal or anybody interested in what I was doing. I thought I was just going to print it myself, put it out myself, and that was that. I had no idea that there'd actually be anyone interested in my music. So to be here and to actually have people that are wanting to put my music out and give me a place, a home for my music is just unbelievable.
Well, good for you. obviously we don't know each other a lot, but a lot of musicians, surprisingly to me, lack confidence sometimes and a little insecure. And so that has to give you just a ton of confidence right now.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, as people have, I've really suffered with a lot of confidence issues my whole life in many different areas, but never was music one of them. I always felt like it was my one thing. My whole life, I was like, not my whole life. When I discovered that I could actually do music, I was like, oh my gosh, it's one thing that I could do that I'm good at. Because before that, I was like bullied in school, and I had to leave one school because I was bullied, and went to another school and got bullied there. And so I was really low on myself. And then one day somebody told me I had a good voice, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have a thing, like I have something. So I just kind of ran with that. It just changed the course of my thinking and my life. And so it was nice to have a party trick of being able to sing and then subsequently write songs. And, but then I lost my ability to do that about 4.5 years ago.
Right.
So
it had to do with the in-ear monitors?
Yeah,
and
so I had these...
overcompensating or something, is that right?
Yeah, so I had these in-ear monitors, and they were great. They were wonderful in-ear monitors, but what happens is many musicians will tell you when you travel, they just throw things around. Guitars get broken all the time.
Sure.
And so something must have happened, in the course of all my travels that had just shaken up the inner workings of the system. And there was...
oh my gosh.
distortion happening in my ear, but nobody else really believed that this was going on. Like people were like, oh, have you had your ears checked? Because the monitor people or people that were doing sound were like, well, I've got it jacked all the way. You should be able to hear yourself. And I was like, I don't hear anything. And all I hear is like distortion. And they're like, I don't get it. And so for a while I was maintaining that there was something wrong with my in-ears, but everybody was like, it must be something wrong with your ears or like your actual ears. And then it turns out that I sent them back to the manufacturer, and they were like, oh yeah, these are messed up. We're sending you a whole new unit. But I'd spent so long singing with them like that I'd actually developed really poor vocal technique, trying to sing over how I was hearing it so I could try to hear myself. And then it was committed to sort of my muscle memory, like the poor technique. And I had this really terrible thing. It was certain vowels I couldn't get out right. It was really weird. It wasn't like, it was like, people talk of vocal problems and it's like, well, I can't sing, my voice goes hoarse, or it was nothing like that. I just couldn't sing vowels. Like things just wouldn't come out. And so it was such a struggle. I'd seen so many vocal coaches, and everyone's like, that's weird. I don't know what to tell you. And it was just wow. And it ultimately ended up being a thing. I'm sure some of the vocal technique things that I learned from different vocal coaches were helpful, but it ended up really being a thing where I just had to teach myself basically how to sing all over again.
So did it damage anything, or was it just the technique? Yeah.
It's it's like a placement thing.
Yeah.
It's really hard to describe. So I don't have damaged vocal cords or anything. I just was not singing it properly. It's really hard to describe, but it was a very strange thing. So when I lost that completely, I struggled really hard because I was like, I don't have anything.
Oh, so the confidence was just...
The confidence was just, And then in the course of all of that, so I lost... I had to step back from my career because I felt like I couldn't deliver the performances, and I got really bad anxiety from it. So I was having panic attacks before shows, and I just felt bad that people were coming to the shows and I was terrified to perform for them. And so I stopped performing, and then I had to figure out other things to do. I was like, who am I if I'm not a singer? I don't know who I am. And that was a real crushing.
Was it stage fright?
I had really bad stage fright.
That's amazing.
It went from being my most thing I was most confident about, and then to completely losing that, and just feeling.
I mean, that's wild.
Yeah, like a shadow of myself, and then 2 years after that, I lost my dad. He died of cancer, and then a couple years after that, I lost my husband. He didn't die. He just left me for a younger girl. And then, so I just felt like I just had dealt with like all this. I was just crushed. I was in a ditch, just crushed. And then, but then, when you're at your lowest, then it's like you can either just like bury yourself or you can climb out of it,
Yeah.
So I decided to climb out of it.
Well, good for you. The new album is From the Ether.
Yeah.
Is that right? And it's ghost inspired.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So is that a metaphor for some of these ghosts? Like the divorce and the grief and the kind of the up and down? Or?
No, I feel like subconsciously it is. It wasn't meant to be initially. It was just like I think ghost stories are fun. Like I like the paranormal, and I always like to stay in haunted hotels. And whenever there's like a venue that I go to, I'm always like, is it haunted? And where's the haunted place? And what's the name of the ghost? And I want to go talk to it. Yeah. So then I was just, wanting to, I was thinking of, cool concepts for records.
Okay.
And that just came to me. And,
yeah. Because we all have the ghosts.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was married a long time, 25 years. Every marriage has its ups and downs, mistakes and all that stuff.
Totally.
But I'm so happy now.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like at the time you're devastated because you had an idea of what you thought your future was going to be with this person, and then and you don't see it coming, and it is such a crushing blow to your self-worth. But now that I look back, my life has just elevated so much since then that I can only see that it's for the best,
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
All right, so can I ask you some random like dating and relationship questions?
Just
for fun?
Yeah.
Do you have an ick?
An ick?
Yeah.
I think dating is my ick. I haven't dated since my divorce, and I have no desire to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I've just been focusing on what I do and writing and getting back to music, and my friends, they're all on the apps. They all do and I hear horror stories, and I'm just like, why does anyone want to do this? Yeah. So I don't know.
So dating's the ick, all right?
It's the ick for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you are ready to kind of, as they say, get back out there, what are some red flags and green flags for you?
I haven't even thought about that. I think, red flags, I guess, would be what I didn't heed prior, which would be the love bombing thing, when people sort of want to rush in and get married right away, or move too quickly.
Yeah.
And I want to be a snail, so I'd be like, you're gonna have to wait a long time for everything.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's good. At least you learned.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's a whole thing. I'm 50, and the whole dating thing was just wild.
It's crazy. I think I'm 45, so I think at our age, I remember it in my 20s, and it's just this whole different world at this age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you hope? Is the album coming out in October? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So From the Ether in October, I guess. What are you hoping the fans that have been waiting for you? I don't know if you want to call it a comeback, but maybe you don't call it a comeback, but have been waiting for this. What are you hoping that they sort of glean from where you are at as an artist or as a person?
Well, I took some risks with this record. It's very different, I think, in a lot of ways to some of my prior work, which was definitely more country leaning. And
Okay.
I wouldn't call this country music.
Yeah.
There's elements of rootsy, folky stuff in the beginnings of it. And then it's very the producer that I work with is an amazing percussionist, and it's very percussion beat driven kind of. I say beats, people are gonna think it's EDM, and it's not at all that. It's not. It's very organically percussive, beat driven stuff. So it's different for me. But I don't think people are going to think it's too far-fetched in that I still write about dark. I always wrote about dark things.
Okay.
They used to call me, I don't know who coined this, but they said I was gothic country.
Oh, wow.
Which, and then I've been referred to as roots noir. And I was like, okay, I can, the dark part is absolutely bang on.
You're into that? Okay.
Yeah.
And this is kind of your second sort of comeback, right? Because didn't you had, I know you had a song called Final Bow or something that was like sort of a, people thought that was your kind of goodbye way back when.
I mean, I think I was getting pretty burnt out because I was touring a lot, and I was just ready for a little bit of a break, but I wasn't getting one. And so I kind of was like, maybe I just need to step away for a little bit. So I was gonna step away, and then I ended up making my Liberty record. So guess not. It's got away. But this time, when I, had the vocal issue, I definitely was 100% believing I was never going to be able to sing again.
I mean, how did that feel?
Awful.
Yeah.
It was awful. Yeah.
It's like your life's mission, or like your meaning, right?
I think the saddest part for me was I'm so lucky in that I have supporters of my music who are very encouraging, and they're always like, you can do it and you'll be back and music is in you. And there came a point where I kind of resented it because I didn't believe it. Like, I just didn't believe in myself at all. And I'm so grateful that they kept encouraging me, and they still did, I just had no faith in myself.
And the first single is it Ghost? The Ghost
of You.
The Ghost of You. One of the lines is, you give me the feeling I'm being haunted by the ghost of you.
Yeah.
Is that back to the marriage? Or
No,
is that
actually,
something else?
No. I wonder if
you don't want to give him that much credit.
No, I'm like, you're so vain. You probably think the song is about you. Yeah, no, it's not actually. It was the idea of that song for me. I thought was kind of a funny. It's like tongue in cheek. It's like, you just like, you want to be haunted by someone because you don't want to be alone. So it's like kind of somebody goes in, like, in my mind, it's like this, like, Ghostbuster who's like falls in love with a ghost. It's like that kind of a thing. It's like, let me whip out my EVP machine and like get you to come and hang out with me.
All right, that's pretty.
I know it's weird.
It's deep.
My brain is weird.
It's not weird. It's deep.
Does weird things.
No, that's good. Is this like your sixth album, seventh album,
know.
something like that?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so I guess it doesn't matter really the context of this, but like, where do you think you're at as an artist today, and then where do you want to be?
Where am I at? So I feel, well, it's all new to me right now. So even this whole Americana Fest that I've been at all week, it's like, oh yeah, because I've played it before, but I forgot,
Okay.
And I was just like, oh yeah, okay, this is. So I'm still kind of like getting back in the groove of what it means to be an artist musician versus painting people's houses for a living, which is what I did. I
know. I need to ask you about that.
Yeah,
which is great.
I painted people's houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did any of that stage fright creep back in this week, or?
Yeah, you know what? Because it's much better than it was.
Okay, good.
So I have to say, my first venture back into doing music was playing a kids show in the little town where I live. And it was like I thought it would be a safe space. I was like, you know what? It's kids songs. They're fun. They're funny. And so, yeah, I recruited another musician in the little town where I live, and we made a band called the Snickerdoodles. And we just did a bunch of kids songs for a bunch of kids. It was great. I loved it.
Were they all covers, obviously?
They were I wrote one.
Did you?
On the spot.
What was it called?
Something about stars and I don't know.
That's amazing.
Or no, I think it was actually about spiders. I don't know. Something with an S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did that, and then I did a couple shows in Canada that were really low key, kind of songwriter in the round kind of things, where I only had to play 4 songs a night. But the first night I was terrified because it was in a theater, and I hadn't done that forever, and I was really scared.
How'd you get through that?
Hope and a prayer. I don't know. Yeah. I just kind of like steeled myself and then reminded myself because it's been a journey of building self-worth since my divorce and everything, and I just have to believe in myself and convince myself that I'm worth it and that I can do it. And also, I like to say that I'm in the Matrix, so it doesn't matter. That's all. I tell myself that all the time. I'm like, you're in the Matrix, Lindy. You can do anything.
Are there ghosts in the Matrix?
Yeah, in mine there are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, let's go. I want to ask you about the house painting. How many songs did you write when you were painting houses in your head?
I mean, I'm sure ideas came to me while I was painting houses. I would sing a lot when I was painting, and the funny thing is I would sing, and then people I'd be painting for would be like, "Oh, you have a nice voice. Have you ever considered music?" And I'm just like, "Well,
They had no idea.
I did do a bunch of touring." And then they're like, "Well, can I look anything up online?" And I said, "Yeah, you probably could." And then they would come the next day and they'd be like, "I listened to your records and I really like that." And I'd be like, "Oh, that's awesome. So glad." And I'm like painting behind their toilet. It's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Is it therapeutic? Because I don't paint every day, but when I do, it's pretty therapeutic.
Yeah, I hate doing ceilings. I have to admit that. I'm gonna like toot my own horn right now and say that I'm a really good painter. I love cutting in. I love doing like the straight lines and getting a nice coat of paint on there. And I care, I care about the houses that I paint. I want them to look good.
While you were doing that, were you able to work on the voice at all?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did. Well, I think also once I got divorced and was living on my own and not annoying anybody with my trying to get my voice back. Because, yeah, you have to do repetitive singing to, like, relearn things, right? So
Okay.
I was annoying people when I was doing that before. And then I wasn't annoying anyone except for my cats.
Okay, you're a cat lady.
I am childless cat lady with barrels and barrels of wine.
I can see that. Not really. All right. So at this point in your career, given everything you've gone through, again, the ghosts, the metaphorical ghosts and stuff, the albums, the houses you've painted, what are you most curious about right now?
In terms of?
Just as a person, as an artist, what are you most curious about?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. I'm curious about a lot of things. I feel like I'm forever curious. Every day I have curiosities about life in general, why we're here, are ghosts actually real?
Yeah.
What's the future hold?
Mm-hmm.
Curious about that. I'm curious about, I find songs so interesting about like how they are born and where they come from and how weird it is to write songs. Such a weird thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think anyone can write a song?
Anyone. Well, you
Words.
didn't say a good song, so I'm going to say yes. I think anyone
Okay.
can write a song.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point. Fair point. So why now in terms of kind of the album and the comeback? Like, did things just have to process for you, or is it, why not next year, or, why not 6 months ago?
Well, it just kind of all happened naturally in that I had a whole bunch of songs that were very spicy from my, situation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I needed to record them and get them out onto something physical. And then just this natural process happened where my producer's partner ended up I ended up loving her so much as a human being and a friend, and she was sort of helping me figure out what I wanted to do musically. She's like, "Well, what do you want to do? Do you want to play shows? Do you want to?" And I was like, I think I want to like do things again, And she was sort of spearheading things for me, and then I just was like, would you want to manage me?
Oh, that's awesome.
It was such a natural thing, and thank goodness she said yes.
Yeah.
And so I think really the plan is to just keep. I love writing. I wrote the entire time that I wasn't actually singing and performing. My issue was with singing and performing and the fear around that, the anxiety around that. But I always wrote. I have, my phone is full of, I'm writing every day. That's constantly.
Awesome. How many songs did you not include in the album that you kind of had at the ready? Was it quite a few?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots.
Yeah.
I constantly write songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not all good, like I said, but
right. Okay.
but some of them might end up on other. I mean, the great thing I love about my team of people that I work with is that we're just so there's the creative, and we just want to do creative things all the time, and no ideas off the table.
Okay.
I've had managers who were like, Lindy, we're gonna put that on the table for later, and or we're not gonna put that on the table at all or whatever. And this group of people are like, they're willing to entertain any wacky idea I have,
Nice.
which I love.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, let's get wacky. Let's do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you plan to support the album with some shows and some stuff later this fall?
I would like to. I mean, the plan is to go to Europe, I think, because I haven't been there in a really long time, and I
awesome.
love going to haunted castles in between shows. You know, I like doing the dungeon thing where I'm always the one that gets picked and they pull my guts out. It's fun.
Lindi Ortega. All right. There's so much to you. That's awesome. Well, congrats on everything. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Can you play some music?
I'm going to do that.
All right. Thanks,
Let's
Lindi.
do it.
All right.
Okay. Hi, I'm Lindi Ortega, and this is a song called Spiritual Advisor, The Spiritual Advisor. And it's a song I wrote about my dad. It's about my dad. I want him to have tea with me because I like to have tea in my house. And I wish that he would come and have some tea with me and advise me on life and help get me through some of the hard times. Now I do not know where my daddy go, now that he's gone. Oh, all I can see is he ain't here with me. Where can he be now that he's gone? Daddy, oh, I miss you so. Won't you please haunt me? Come on over 40. You can sit beside me, spiritually advise me. Now I cannot say where my daddy he stay, now that he gone away. Oh, all that I know is wherever he go, it ain't a place that I'm allowed to follow. Daddy, oh, I miss you so. Oh, won't you please haunt me? Come on over 40. You can sit beside me, spiritually advise me. Where did he disappear to? I don't know why my daddy had to die. I thought he'd be around for the rest of my life. Daddy, oh, I miss you so. Oh, won't you please haunt me? Come on over 40. You can sit beside me, spiritually advise me. Please haunt me, come on over 40. You can sit beside me, spiritually advise me.
Thanks so much for joining us for another episode of Curious Goldfish. Please follow and subscribe to the podcast and on social media. Also, tell your music-loving friends about us too. Until next time, stay curious.